Ben Carson beginning his first full week as Housing Secretary. It may not be going exactly as he planned, so let's discuss now. CNN political commentators Kayleigh McEnany is here, Simone Sanders and Kevin Madden, as well as Republican political consultant Shermichael Singleton. And here we are. Back to the fun and games, everyone. Good evening. Thank you for coming on. I'm sure you heard the conversation I had with Michael Eric Dyson just now, and you've seen what happened. But I want to play the comments from the HUD Secretary, Ben Carson, addressing his department employees, where he appears to compare slaves to immigrants. He begins talking about the photos of people who came here to Ellis Island.
Not 8 hours a day, but 10, 12, 16 hours a day. No such thing as a minimum wage. They work not for themselves, but for their sons and their daughters, their grandsons and their granddaughters, that they might have an opportunity in this land. That's what America is about. A land of dreams and opportunity. There were other immigrants who came here in the bottom of slave ships, worked even longer, even harder for less. But they too had a dream that one day their sons, daughters, grandsons, granddaughters, great-grandsons, great-granddaughters might pursue prosperity and happiness in this land.
So, Shermichael, I have to go to you first, because you used to work for Ben Carson at HUD. Can you give us some insight as to what he meant here and why he would say that?
Look, Don, Dr. Carson has released a statement that was posted to his Facebook page about an hour ago, where he did clarify the remarks that he made earlier today when he was addressing the staff, the career staff at the agency. And in those remarks, he made it in that clarification, he made it very clear that in no way was he attempting to compare the slave narrative to the immigrant narrative. The two are extremely disparate. And the fortitude that our ancestors displayed when being forced into this country is something that I don't think anyone would attempt to challenge. And
but so, Shermichael, I understand what you're saying. Hold on. No. It doesn't work that way.
Go ahead.
Because you said that he wasn't attempting to, but that's exactly what he did by comparing people from Ellis Island. By the way, if slaves couldn't even come through Ellis Island or see the Statue of Liberty because it wasn't during that time. That's the whole point. There's two different experiences.
But Don,
he himself was comparing it. Maybe in his explanation he said that, but if you listen to it, that's what he said.
Don, I'm not disagreeing with the facts as it pertains to slavery and immigrants coming from European countries into America. That's not what I am attempting to do. What I'm saying is that Dr. Carson made a statement. Clearly, Dr. Carson has recognized that his statements were not the best statements at that time and clarified those statements once on Armstrong Williams' show.
Okay,
I get
what you're saying.
He provided even further clarification on Facebook. Don,
I played the soundbite from the Armstrong. I get what you're saying. You're saying that he spoke. You think he misspoke. He didn't say it properly, and he went back to clarify. Okay,
and we have to give him credit for clarification.
Simone, go on. What do you think?
I think this is absolutely ridiculous. I think what Dr. Carson did today should not be overlooked or cast aside as misspeaking. This was an attempt at revisionist history that the Trump administration has done before. We can look back to Betsy DeVos trying to compare the establishment of historically black colleges and universities as school choice. So I think we definitely have to be careful here and say that Dr. Carson cleaned this up and he made it clear. I am more confused by Dr. Carson's statement. I don't think he understands the grave, just egregious misstep he made today.
Wait, do we have hold on, Shermichael.
Okay.
If we have the thing from Armstrong's show, let me know and then we'll play it. But go ahead quickly, because I want to get Kayleigh in here quickly, Shermichael.
Yeah, sure. I don't think it's fair to say that Dr. Carson doesn't have an understanding of slave history. I can't find any African American who doesn't understand the history of our ancestors or any.
Hold on, Simone,
hold on, Simone. I can understand why people found Dr. Carson's statement to be problematic. And clearly Dr. Carson recognized that, which is why he has corrected his original statement, Simone. So
Okay. All right, Shermichael, you said that. You said that.
To make a point that he doesn't understand slave history.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people who may not. Just because you're black doesn't mean that you understand slave history. People go to schools just like everyone else. Black, white, Hispanic. People go to school. Sometimes they're not taught black history. Sometimes they don't understand black history. Just because you're black doesn't mean you understand black history.
Don, that's not the premise of my point, Don. What I am saying is, Dr. Carson is an intelligent person. Dr. Carson is a good person. And throughout his career, his number one goal has been serving others. At the core, that's who he is, a servant leader. And in knowing Dr. Carson, he would never do or say anything with the intent to malign or hurt people. And so I do think he misspoke. And I think he recognized that, which is why I do believe he provided further clarity via his post on his Facebook page an hour ago.
We're gonna play what he said on Armstrong Williams' show, and then we'll let Kaylee and Kevin get in right after this. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Back now with Kaylee McEnany, Simone Sanders, Kevin Madden, and Shermichael Singleton. Okay, Mr. Madden, I know you want to get in on this. I want to play, no, because we talk about these subjects all the time. Yeah. And I want to play what Dr. Carson said on Armstrong Williams' radio show. Listen.
I think people need to actually look up the word immigrant. Whether you're voluntary or involuntary, if you come from outside to the inside, you're an immigrant. Whether you're legal or you're illegal, you come from the outside to inside, you're an immigrant. Slaves came here as involuntary immigrants, but they still had the strength to hold on.
Okay, so an immigrant is a person who comes to another country to live voluntarily for a long time, who comes. And then he, as Shermichael said, he wrote about it on Facebook, but he never said, I messed up, or what I intended to say was. He just said that immigrants and slaves, the narrative, the two are entirely different experiences, and they shouldn't be conflated. I'm paraphrasing here, but that's kind of what he did. What do you think?
Well, I don't think it helps a lot to be trying to parse or litigate his use of the term immigrant. I think the original remarks were disagreeable and they were wrong. They're easily proven wrong. And he should move on from that. I thought Shermichael did as good a job as you could do in pointing out that Secretary Carson was speaking extemporaneously. We would have chosen different words if he could have, and move on. But I think that's one of the mistakes in this response, is to go round and round over the use of the term immigrant. Look, my parents were immigrants. They came here from Ireland because they wanted to. They were not sold into bondage like so many African Americans were. There's a big difference there. Understand that difference and move on.
Kaylee McEnany.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's helpful to parse his every word either. And in fact, when I look at someone's statement that it comes under fire, I like to look at what the heart of what he was trying to say. And clearly, I think what he was trying to do, even though his comparison was inept, was to compare, struggles that his ancestors went through and compare them to struggles immigrants go through. And he clarified on Facebook and pointed out some of the huge differences there that he wished he would have pointed out in his speech. But I thought the last sentence of what he said on Facebook really is the heart of what he was trying to say. We should revel in the fact that although we got here through different routes, we have many things in common now that should unite us. So that's what he was trying to do. And I think lambasting the guy for making an artful comparison isn't helpful.
And to Kaylee's point, Don, the people who were actually in the room that heard these comments live, it didn't even strike them at first. I think it's because it's gone through this whole level of new scrutiny now that he's taking a hit on this. But
Don,
that's correct, Don. And if I could just comment really quickly, his remarks in their entirety was relatively well received by the career staff at HUD. And even towards the end, there was a woman who stood up and said, I wasn't too sure about you, but after hearing your remarks in their entirety, I have great comfort. Yeah. And that should provide a lot of credence to those who are watching this show. People have confidence.
When you're the HUD secretary, your remarks are going to be seen further than that,
that
room.
Absolutely. No one's disagreeing with that, Don.
I have a little bit of time left. Go ahead, Simone.
Don, I think words matter. And we have said this over and over and over again with this administration, but whether it's the HUD secretary, the Secretary of Education, or the President of the United States himself, this administration has to take more care in the words that they use. And in no circumstances should we gloss over the fact fact that
Okay.
today the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development tried to equate people that were brought to this country in chains with immigrants who voluntarily come
There
here.
we
So
go.
this administration has some work to do.
Yeah, it's listen, I understand when everyone says that America's a country of immigrants, but we got here in different ways, and those ways,
And we all acknowledge
Some of us
those
ain't come
ways
free,
do-
and words do
those-
matter.
those ways do matter in a big way.
and no
Thank
one's
you all.
disagreeing with that.
Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Good night.